Hi, this is Jonathan Peters, and I'm one of the co-founders of Fast Bestseller. And today I want to talk about how to be a self-publisher. Now, in different videos in this series, certainly at Fast Bestseller, we have lots of information about, say, the ISBN. The ISBN is the number that you need to be the self-publisher of your book. And there are also videos by my co-founder Scott Simpson and some other information on the Fast Bestseller website for describing print on demand as a technology. So I'm going to skip past some of that information. To be a self-publisher, you need to get your ISBN. Again, we have that information for you. And we probably will want to be listing and printing our book through print on demand technology. So the company that we recommend at Fast Bestseller for your print-on-demand printing is Lightning Source. Lightning Source is the print-on-demand arm of Ingram Books. Ingram is the wholesaler distributor of books in the United States. When you print through Ingram, you are automatically listed in their catalog and automatically available to all booksellers. Okay, so let me recap that. Lightning Source is part of Ingram. When you use Lightning Source as your print-on-demand printer, then you are automatically in their catalog, then you are available to everyone. So it takes a lot of the worry, a lot of the hassle out of being a self-publisher. When it comes to distribution, you have an amazing channel. So that automatically an independent bookstore can find your book. Automatically Barnes & Noble can find your book. And get this, automatically you'll be listed on Amazon. You don't have to go through a lot of the extra work of getting your book up on Amazon. It'll eventually appear. Now, maybe not as quickly as you want it to. There's been a couple of Fast Bestsellers launches that we've been involved in that have not, that Amazon was taking its sweet time getting their book listed, so we had to scramble at the last moment. But on the other hand, I just had a client who we were pushing his book out a little too quickly for an event. We got the book printed, and now it's getting some rewrites, some chapters added before it's available to the public. Well, wouldn't you know it, Amazon in that case is very, very efficient getting his book listed. So you don't know, but it will happen. Maybe 2 weeks that it will happen, over 2 weeks of putting your book with Lightning Source. The other thing to be aware of with Lightning Source is Lightning Source works with publishers. And so they expect you to have a certain grasp of the publishing. There's very little hand-holding at Lightning Source because they only want to work with publishers. They really don't want to work with individuals. So again, educate yourself on self-publishing. Now, we have a lot of information below, at the link below, that you can peruse so that you can educate yourself before working with them. And even if you know about trim styles and laminate versus non-laminate versus matte finish and all the different papers, even if you know that, it's still a little clunky to get through their system for the first couple times. And so you may want to work with what's called a book shepherd. Book shepherds, you get them your manuscript file and your cover file, and then they take you through the process. So there's lots of different folks that will do this for you, including Fast Bestseller. If that's of interest to you, you may want to contact us directly via email because there's different projects have different needs. So the point is, we want to work with Lightning Source. Lightning Source can be a little time-consuming, difficult, clunky maybe to work with, but once we're through, our book is automatically available to all booksellers throughout the United States and really throughout the world. So when we're looking at, we're talking here about the single copies of your book. So someone buys it on Amazon, one book gets printed and sent to them. You want, let's say, 10 books to give away or something, so you buy 10 books from Lightning Source at a very reduced price, certainly well below wholesale. But let's say you have an event coming up that you'll be speaking, and you know that you're going to move, let's say, at least 1,000 copies of your book. Or you're doing your Fast Bestseller, and you anticipate that thousands of books will be sold during the Fast Bestseller launch and into the weeks following the launch. So in situations like that, print on demand can get rather expensive because it can cut into your margins. So you may want to go with what's called offset printing. This is traditional printing. Now, to be clear, if you own the ISBN, you can work with different printers. So you can work with Lightning Source for your print on demand, and you can work with a book printer, traditional printer for your print needs. So more than 1,000, the cost per unit at 5,000 certainly gets down there. Your cost per unit at over 5,000 books with an offset printer probably be around a couple bucks for a small paperback, a regular size paperback. So it can save you a lot of money. Now, the downside of that is now you got thousands of books. If you're not selling them in time, you'll have to store them. So it comes down to how much can you move, how quickly can you move. So there will be those times when to use like I said, an offset printer. Now, my other recommendation here is that make sure they are a book printer. Pretty much any printer is going to say they can print books, but you want a company that is familiar with book printing, has all the equipment, and has done a lot of books, because otherwise there'll be some mess ups with binding, the quality won't be as good as you would want, and so on. I use Johnson Printing out of Dallas, Texas. There's some good folks in Ohio, for instance, in the Pacific Northwest, I believe in Oregon. Some good book printers out there that'll give you a great price if it's more than 1,000, certainly more than 5,000 units. Okay, so that's where we can think of when it comes to on the printing side. But again, if you're a true self-publisher, if it's your ISBN, you haven't gotten suckered in through some other program that's tried to sell you some things, or say like Amazon or something, if you own the ISBN, and we then recommend that you work with Lightning Source first for your print on demand, for your web orders, and then if you have larger orders, then working with a traditional book printer. Right, so that's the information we have today about getting that book printed. We have tons of information right below me. The link below, you'll see the link down there. You'll see they've got lots of free information for you, some good paid information for not just publishing your book, but also getting that book promoted, because that's where it comes down to. Just writing the book is just the beginning, folks. After that, it's about getting that book sold.